Chapter 826. Wilbur smiled. I want to be the head of security at Everest Foreign Trade. What did you just say? Hannah balked at Wilbur in disbelief. I want to be the head of security at Everest Foreign Trade. Wilbur repeated his words one at a time. Hannah leaned back in her chair. Mr. Penn, I don't remember the contract with Cape mentioning anything about you bringing in a security team of your own. Cape is only in charge of financial supervision, said Hannah. Wilbur smiled. If my memory serves me correctly, you asked Cape to assemble a security team to protect Everest's mines, no? I did. But we'll be the one supervising the team and not you, Hannah said, growing angrier by the minute. This idiot was even thinking of being the head of security. How could a position so important go to someone she did not know or trust? How ridiculous. Wilbur frowned. You need manpower, Miss Toya, especially when it comes to security. Either way, it's not something you have a say in. Despite the fact that Cape was the one with the money, there was no way Hannah was going to let them meddle in Everest Foreign Trade's own affairs. It was important to remember that safety was the most important aspect here. The head of security was a crucial position, and it had to be someone Hannah could trust for sure. Wilbur frowned. He had been thinking that being head of security at Everest Foreign Trade would give him a proper position. He could then assemble his own team using that identity and utilize whatever weapons Keith and his squad had. With this power of Faith, these men would be the most loyal subordinates. The power that came from Faith was endless. The Church of Holy Illuminati was a good example of this. Their power was unimaginable, being a religion with over 1 billion followers. Wilbur also had another plan, which was to form an armed squad locally instead of bringing one over from another country. That way, their costs, resources, and labor would be cut significantly. The identity of Lord of the Fire Dragons seemed to be useful to some extent here. The authority of the Lord of Fire Dragons could keep the men loyal and help explain to Wilbur just how strong this power of Faith was. Wilbur was certain that mastering this power would bring him to new heights. Yet Hannah seemed to be less than keen. Actually, Hannah had never liked Wilbur from the start. Wilbur had no intentions to meddle in Everest Foreign Trade, nor did he have the time to waste on it. He could not help but shake his head. There was no way he could reveal his identity as Lord of the Fire Dragons. All eyes would be on Everest Foreign Trade if they were to be involved in this in the slightest. On top of that, there was no way Everest Foreign Trade would even be able to survive. Being the Lord of Fire Dragons would require Wilbur to gather more believers and followers, which would in turn yield the power of Faith naturally. Once that power had grown to a certain scale, it would be sure to attract enough attention and be involved with other forces. The Church of Illuminati was a good example of this. To them, all other religions were inferior aside from their own. Besides, 2/3 of the people of Africa were followers of the Church of Holy Illuminati.